most authors think about making money from a book completely backwards. Most people think that the majority of revenue is going to come from the book sales, the royalties from people buying your books. And while yes, you will make some money there, the big money is actually made on the back end. The big money, the opportunity to make 6 or 7 figures, comes from doing a few different things. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through 3 different ways that you can turn your book into a 6-figure revenue stream. Now, at the end, I'm going to share with you how you can combine it all to make over $1 million plus. Now, this comes from my experience as a 4-time best-selling author that has built multiple businesses in the coaching, publishing, and speaking world. I've used my books to generate millions of dollars in sales, and we've helped many clients do this as well. And so I want to share with you in the easiest way that I know how to take a book, how to create an offer that can then create revenue-generating opportunities. So the first one that you can do is speaking engagements. Speaking engagements are one of the biggest outcomes that people who write nonfiction books aim to achieve. They want to write the book and they want to use that book to land more speaking engagements. Or they get a lot of speaking engagements and they're trying to write a book so that they can increase the amount of money they make per gig. And I'm going to break this down for you. So this is best for you. This type of monetization model is best for you if you want to do speaking. If you don't want to be traveling and going to cool places and speaking in front of people, this isn't the path for you, and that's okay. But if you do want to speak on your topic, if you do want to get in front of people and really inspire people and get out there and get paid for this, then speaking is one of the greatest avenues. This was my first path. I wrote my first book at 23 years old. I released it, and then I was speaking at colleges all across the country, eventually making that speaking internationally. And I did free talks, paid talks, and all different types of talks. But let's break down how you can actually monetize this to $100,000 per year, right? So if you are speaking to a corporate audience, you might be able to command $10,000 per gig. Now, these are ranges, and everyone's got a different range. And realistically, you're only going to be able to charge what you are willing to say to an event coordinator. But I want to give you some realistic examples of things that I've charged and what we've seen clients charge, as well as maybe people that you also follow as well. But let's say you write a book. Let's say you're a best-selling author. You've now added credibility to your name. So if you speak to the corporate audience, maybe that's a $10,000 deal. If that's $10,000, you do 10 of those a year and boom, that's $100,000 right there. Let's say you speak to an education market, or you just want to do one-day flat rate fees and you charge $5,000. You need 20 of those gigs. Okay, 20 of those gigs, almost 2 per month, and that will get you to $100,000. Let's say, though, you have a lower speaking fee, but you just want to be hustling, hitting the pavement. We could do 50 gigs at $2,000. This is if you're speaking to like the youth market, different types of religious sectors might be able to pay smaller amounts, but you could get more and more and more gigs. And then the other way, if you really just want to hit the ground running and you just want to do as many gigs as possible, you can actually speak for free and sell your book on the back end or have the host actually buy your book. So let me give you an example here. Let's say, for example, you find audiences of 100 people over and over and over again. And your only goal is to speak to as many people as possible. You have a mission to inspire hundreds of thousands, millions of people, and you're willing to speak for free. Well, how do you actually monetize that? The host might be willing to buy books for you. So if there's 100 people in the audience and you have a $20 book, that's $2,000. Boom. That's how you get your $2,000 fee. Or if you sell books in the back of the room, let's say there's 100 people there, 50 people really love your talk, and then 50 people buy your book. 50 times 20 is $1,000. You make $1,000 every time. You do that 100 times. Yes, that is a grind, but you could speak for free and make that type of money. It all depends on what type of lifestyle you actually want to live as a speaker. What's really cool is as you start doing this, you could actually get paid a fee plus book sales on top of it. And this is how people who are already speaking are really adding extra $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 per gig that they're doing. All right. And so that's for speaking. That's how you can make $100,000 from a book if you want to be a speaker. That's assuming you don't have anything else to sell them. It's just your book and your speaking. But that's a fast path to $100,000. I've done that. I also want to share a couple of examples here. One of our authors, Joe, he got a premier speaking engagement in front of his ideal people, and they bought 300 books. Okay. Now, depending on what you sell the books for, whether it's $15, $20 or more, that could be anywhere from $4,500 to $6,000. Okay. That's just one example of how you can make money as a speaker from your book. Let's talk about the second model. A lot of people who write nonfiction books are wanting to sell something on the back end. They're coaches, consultants, they have agencies. And so what they're doing here is they're looking to leverage and capitalize on their knowledge, write a book, and then have people hire them to actually coach them on it or to help them actually implement it. Okay, and this is one of the models that we use at Big Idea to Bestseller. People read our book, Big Idea to Bestseller, and then they invest to work with us to help them get their book published. And we have different tiers of how we do this. This type of model, the coaching consultant expert model, is really good for you if you want to work in more of a high ticket, lower volume situation. Okay, higher ticket, lower volume, again, focusing on that 100K mark. And higher ticket can be $5,000, it can be $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, $50,000, $100,000. It depends on what your offer is, what the duration is, how much deliverables are involved. But if you want to break it down, it can be broken down as simply as this. If you have 10 people that pay you $10,000, fantastic. Maybe you have a 12-month program. Well, they can pay you $1,000 every month, and that's a $12,000 deal. You only need 8 clients. Or maybe you have a service that you do. Maybe you're writing your book to show people your marketing expertise, and you have an $8,000 retainer. Well, you just need one client to pay you $8,000 a month for the year, and that's $96,000, almost $100,000. Okay. Now, again, I'm spitting out these arbitrary numbers because I've seen people do this. I've coached people on doing this, and I also want you to see that you can make it work with whatever you're at in your journey. So if you're more of a beginner, you could use the book and then charge $3,000. Sell 30 of those and you have 90K. Over the course of a year. Remember, we're talking about over the course of a year. We just helped somebody who did a mastermind on the back end of the book launch, and they signed up 15 to 20 people at a high ticket price point. So this is how you can do your book into the coaching or consulting model. Again, remember this, and this is the big takeaway that I want you to do, is this is a choose your own adventure. When you write a book, you have the availability to do any and all of these different things. Choose what's best for your style, your family, your personality, your desires, the amount of time you want to spend, how you want to actually deliver, right? If you want to be on the road speaking all the time, that's one way of doing it. If you would rather work with just 10 clients here at $10,000 and that's it, and that's all you do, then that's great too. There's no right or wrong answer. And that's the most important thing for you to take away from this. One of our authors even, she was doing high-ticket consulting, and she signed a $10,000 deal before her book even came out. Another one of our authors did $16,000 in the first 50 days after her book in the coaching consulting realm. All because the book positions you as the expert, and the expert helps you allow yourself to convert your existing audience. All right. The third way of doing it, and the final way for today, is digital products. So this is best for you if you'd rather be behind the scenes and you don't really want to be necessarily super in front of the camera. You don't want to be on stage and you don't want to work one-on-one with people or on a done-for-you basis. You kind of want to create incredible digital products. People can buy them and then use those to get their own results. Now, what's really great is in the digital product space, when you have a book, your book can be turned into all types of products, ranging from $27 all the way up to literally $2,000 courses or beyond. And I've seen this done at every single level, and it becomes really, really, really fun. And all you have to do is think about, okay, what do I want this book to turn into? So let me give you some examples. If your book has 3 parts to the book, well, maybe you create a video course on each part. So part 1 is named XYZ, and that's $297. Part 2 is named ABC, and it's $497. You can do whatever you want with it. Maybe you want to just create a low-level PDF, okay? A series of PDFs on the back end. Maybe it's a workbook style thing. Maybe it's a series of PDFs and for people to follow along as they do it. Charge $27. Maybe you want to create an amazing template. A template can be charged $47 to $97. Okay, maybe you want to make a mini video series that kind of addresses one chapter and you want to make a 5 video series on that. Boom, you can sell that for $67. Again, I'm making up the numbers based on what we've seen, but it's all dependent on what you're trying to do. Or maybe you want to turn your book and make it into a full course. You can charge anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 on that. And the reason I know that is because we have done this with ourselves and our businesses and our clients. I've done different courses, different digital products at different stages. So how do you actually get to the $10,000 or the $100,000 mark? Well, again, it depends on what you're trying to do. But what we have seen people do is, let's say you want to be at the $200 price point, you need 500 customers. If you want to be at the $500 price point, you need 200 customers. If you want to be at the $1,000 price point, you need 100 customers. Depending on what you do will determine how many you need to sell. Where it gets really fun is when you take the book and you create a few different offerings, and then you can combine those skills, those offerings, those ascensions, and people spend more at different levels, ultimately getting the result. And a general rule of thumb is that the more expensive a digital product is, the more access they get. The smaller it is, the smaller the result. The bigger it is, the bigger the result. The bigger the result, the more access they have to you, your ecosystem, your team. Okay? You can even turn that into a group coaching, which is a hybrid digital versus coaching, and you could charge anywhere from $2,000 to $8,000 or more. Okay? So these are the 3 different ways to make $100,000 with real examples. Now, here's the bonus piece of this, and this is how you can go from 6 figures to mid 6 figures or even to 7 figures, is when you can create a flywheel where you have all of these pieces. For example, let's say you have a book. That book leads to a $1,500 program. That $1,500 program leads to a $10,000 mastermind. That $10,000 mastermind leads to a speaker fee that you charge $5,000 to do executive fees. Now, you can turn one client into more revenue. You can turn speaking engagements into clients as well. And this becomes the flywheel for you so that now you can double dip. You can send people in the best direction to actually help them. And this is how you can go from 6 to mid 6 or 6 to even 7 figures of revenue. And this is what I've done with Big Idea to Bestseller. We have digital products with Big Idea to Bestseller that we've created on the back end of the book. We have our coaching programs, we have our done-for-you services, and we have my speaking fees, where I'll speak, whether it's for free and sell the programs, or I'll get paid to speak and I'll go actually deliver talks based on that. This is how we're able to generate revenue. This is how we're able to give customers exactly what they want when they need it so that we can actually help them. And this is how many people are leveraging a book to create a ton of additional revenue and monetization opportunities. So there you have it. That's how to make $100,000 from your book with 3 different examples. Now, if you're really interested in this and you want to talk more about how you can actually use a book to grow your business, then go to bigideabestseller.com/call and book a demo to speak with me and our team. Now, if you want to just kind of learn the basics of this and actually how to write the book, well, go to bigideabestseller.com/free-book, and you can get a free copy of my book, Big Idea to Bestseller, which is a step-by-step roadmap on how to write, publish, and launch a nonfiction book for business growth. You can go ahead and grab a free copy, and we'll send it directly to your doorstep. So there you have it. That is how to make $100,000 from your book in 3 different ways: speaking, coaching, and digital products. Talk to you later.